Good morning. It's another beautiful day. I'm looking out my window now, and the leaves are almost gone, but the colors are still beautiful. The sky is clear. It's cool out, but it's still beautiful. How are you this morning? How are you this day? You know, the thought that I want to talk about today, it's about time. I wrestled with some thoughts last night as I wake up, fall back to sleep. And one of those moments, it came across that it's about time. We're all here because it's about time. I relived a moment last night, a moment that changed most of my life, or a big part of my life. It redirected me. It took a minute after even this event to where I really sat back and seen the need for change. But it was all about time. One day I went to work, chasing time, thinking the more hours I worked, the better I would be, the more financially secure I'd be. I had a job that gave me insurance. I had a business that gave me the finances. And I was working 7 days a week. One day in between both, I was on my way to both, or one of them, the job, the job, and it ended up in the ditch without my leg. And the reality of that moment was I should have expired right then. It was about time. That moment I knew was coming. I knew a month before that I had to make change, but I didn't feel it was the right time to make change, to slow down. Inside I was being warned. I wouldn't listen because I was too caught up with what was around me, and I was listening to who was around me. And I wasn't trusting myself. Yes, it was my fault for not just doing what I knew I needed to do, but I didn't trust myself. So there I lay in the ditch, without a limb attached, physically not attached. And I should have expired, but I didn't. The one thing I did do, and the one thing I knew, and the one thing I trusted was I went right to where I knew, and that was to ask for forgiveness for everything that I might have done, and I forgave anybody who might have done anything wrong to me. It was automatic. That was the first thing out of my mouth. There was no fear. Yes, I was in shock, they would say. In a situation like that, a body goes into shock. But those that witnessed me right then came back a month or two later and told me that it was a calmness. Even though. But it was about time. I mentioned before in a couple of these other little vlogs, I went 4 times where I expired. I had to be resuscitated. I was out of the hospital 2 weeks and 3 days. Yes, it was about time. It was about time I got out of there. I knew the only way to heal was to heal from within. There was things that had to be done on the outside. But fear was not one of those things that sat inside of me. I knew I was going to be okay. I knew it wasn't my time. I knew all the way along, this whole journey that we are on, we are just passing time for eternity. This is a moment. When it comes to time, this is just a moment. I realized then that things looked different as I came out. I went back to home, the physical home that I had at that moment. And it was coming into spring, and it was like everything was coming to bloom. Trees, the grass, And I came back to my place where I had, for fun, I used to plant bulbs. And so I'm looking at the crocus. I'm looking at the hyacinth. I'm looking at all these bulbs that were popping, tulips, daffodils. And it was like, oh my gosh, life. It's about time. I realized we're here for just a moment. And what is it you're going to do with that moment? What are you doing? Are you worried about collecting things? Are you worried that you don't have enough things collected in the time that you are right now? Again, it took me a year or two to really settle myself down because due to pressures, I felt myself going back into the life that I had just come from. The hours, working the hours. And I thought that was who I was. I thought that was my identity. I thought that who people see me as was this machine who could work hours. And now I was missing a body part. I had to learn to re-walk again. And I went back to hours again, working. But all the while inside of me, there was this isn't right. There's something wrong. It's time for change. And finally, change came. But it wasn't strong enough. You see, it's all about time, and we have to go through certain things if you don't listen. You see, I believe that we are all warned of things coming, and you're warned from the inside. Your intuition, you know that when something is not right, you're in a situation that is not right, and you will try to convince yourself, okay, we can get through this. We can make this happen. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a career, you will know. You see, it's about time. And there will be that moment where you will make a decision to follow what you know you're called to do. And it'll be in the right time. See, we are all here for a reason. My time was not up. Now I've learned not to have a worry or a fear of death, but I also have what I've learned is to rejoice in the days that I do have, because we are not guaranteed. There is nothing that's guaranteed in your day to day. Oh yes, you have a place as long as you pay your mortgages, or if you have it paid for, as long as you pay your rent, as long as you make your payments, you're okay. But if something skips, you see, we're here for a reason. What is your reason? It's time. It's about time to find it. Trust you. It's you. Everything that you need is already wrapped up inside of you. So find your reason. That is all. Be well, be loved, always. And until next time, stay awesome.